Oh, this will be fun.
Now there's an echo.
That's because
Yeah.
I'm in the theater. I'm
That's
heading
because
out.
he's in the theater.
No.
Well, I don't know because I can't. I'm still gonna echo now. But
So I'm sharing his. So am I understanding that I will be directed to highlight that that particular feed, that iPhone feed?
yes.
Okay.
However, are we live right now? Does anybody know?
We are
Anybody?
not on YouTube. We are not.
Are we
but
live on Debbie's
Facebook we
page?
are. We're live on Debbie's. Yes.
Oh, great. All right. Well, to those watching, welcome to Cat and Todd Live. We will be starting in just a few seconds. We're just getting some technical things figured out for you guys, and you are in store for a really great show.
And YouTube seems to be running now as well.
YouTube's running now as well. Great. All right. Well, we will be on in a second. My makeup bag.
Right. Okay, I see you. I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, and we are live.
All right. So we're live.
We just need to start the show.
Okay. You guys are gonna have to figure it out in the control room. I'm not in there. So I'm assuming Seth can hear me.
Yes, sir.
So start.
We're gonna run
Your-
the theme and then cut straight to you. Stay tuned.
That's fine.
I'll let you know when you're gone. You're on.
Well, I'll be darned. Here we are live, and we're trying something new tonight, which is kind of cool. I'm hoping that we have new people tonight because we are streaming from a new Facebook platform. But of course, this is our YouTube platform that we stream from here. And if you are here tonight with us, either from the Debbie Reynolds page or the YouTube Cat and Todd Live channel, then we welcome you. We're going to have a great show tonight. It's going to be really fun. We might have a few glitches here and there because we are trying new things. So you get to see how the show, I always call it show the folks at home how it's done. So bear with us. We're so excited. Tonight we're going to be, is Todd in the museum? Is that where?
I am. I'm right here.
Hey.
Allie is here with me.
Todd and his cat are in the museum, so we're going to probably cut over to him in just a moment. And
Right here.
he's
Or
here?
You can cut to Ryan there, Buck.
Okay.
And you will.
Now you're sideways, of course. Here, let me
flip your
look at you
camera
like this.
over.
Yeah, you're vertical, not. There you
There we
go.
go.
There you go. You're.
You want me to be like that?
Yeah. Well, I like you that like. I like you like that at night, but for now, I think we'll have you. What's that called? Vertical. Yes, there we go. There's that. That is Todd's cat, Callie, and she. When Todd, when I got these cats because I rescue everything, and when I rescued these kittens. He said, "Oh, of course you can, you need to take care of them because God put them in your path." But he said, I'm not really, I don't kind of get cats, So I said, okay, now.
No, I thought I was allergic to cats.
Right, but you didn't ever have any cats. So now, if I disturb the cat and it jumps off the bed because I startled it, I get in trouble because he wants the cat in the bed with us. So it just goes to show you, until you have a cat wrapped around its paw. I mean, when they have you wrapped around their paw, it's just it's a great thing. So now I have a cat man. Cat man do. He loves his cats. So hey, there you are, and you're in the museum. Tell me what you're showing me there. What are you showing us?
Well, that's a picture of my mother with the guy that painted that portrait of her. This is a beautiful Molly Brown portrait painted by Ralph Cohen. He's the guy that also painted her in the clouds, famous cloud portrait. But this, of course, is the iconic Molly Brown. Now, the reason why we're doing this, we can't drag all this stuff into the set, although we have drug a lot into the set. But I was going to start here to show you things that we didn't want to drag in. So there's the red dress that you are seeing here in the picture, the famous picture.
And the number
on the Molly,
in the film, she did a big number in that red dress. So
well, they actually throw the party in the red dress.
Yes.
And no one shows up, and she's heartbroken that no one came to her party. Now the reality is, my mother never threw a party that everybody didn't show up to. So it really took a lot of acting skill to act upset that no one came to your party when everybody wanted to come to your party. So anyway, there she is in the red dress. There is the red dress. Now on the set, we have a lot more stuff to show you, but I just wanted to get this stuff out of the way. And in fact, we're going to show you up there. You see the belly up in the poster. This is the big 3D poster. We're going to be showing you the belly up dress. I just showed you this cool picture of my mother with the guy that painted this painting. In fact, there's a little plaque. I don't think you can read that probably, right? It says Unsinkable, Molly Brown, Debbie Reynolds, Ralph Wolf Cohen. Anyway, that's the portrait on there. Now we have a lot of other little things we did not drag in there, such like here's Debbie Reynolds. It says Picture of the Month Award, Metro Golden Mayor, Unsinkable Molly Brown, 64, 17 magazine. There's a really cool sketch of my mother. This is a pencil sketch of her in her sort of roughneck outfit with the boots and everything. That's just a pastel. These are just little things that, you know, are in the collection. Here's another plaque here. Now this plaque says, this is Photo Play magazine plaque that says Unsinkable Molly Brown, Metro Golden Mayor Debbie Reynolds. It says, big, beautiful picnic basket of musical, chocked full of songs, dances, laughs, romance, and surprises for fun people of all ages. Kind of a cute plaque. Anyway, there's some other awards in here. I don't know if you could see that one. That's like a family audience award, a beautiful bronze piece. And then this, of course, was her director's chair, you know, on the set of Molly Brown. Can you see that? Now, this is made of leather. It's got a little wear on it. The Debbie has seen better days. Of course, it would be backwards anyway because of the way these cameras work when they're streaming. But this is a beautiful leather director's chair. So it's a run-of-the-mill director's chair, but it was all covered in leather just for her. So let me think now. I showed you the painting, we showed you the poster, you see some film clips running, we showed you the dress. I'm going to throw it back to Kat in the studio.
Okay.
I'm going to work my way back there.
But before you do,
Before I go.
where is the belly up to the bar dress? Oh my
It's in there.
God. Okay, you know what? I have not been on the set. I just came out here and sat down. I love this number. I love every number in this film, but
Well, we're going to talk about
yes,
that.
I do.
Any questions
About
from
the
anybody
museum.
while
Oh, there
I'm
it is.
here?
Yes, doesn't it? Let me check to see if anyone has any questions while you are in the museum. And the museum looks fantastic, by the way, on camera, because we don't usually see it on camera. I just wish everybody could see this in person because it's so incredible. There's just so many things in there that make people just go, ooh, can I take a picture with that? And isn't that a wonderful thing to be able to let people take pictures with artifacts that, you know, they get to share with their friends, their social media, and it's so great. I'm so happy we've taken this road to carry on the this dream that your mom had, and I just
Carry on. What an interesting word you chose.
carry on, yeah, to go forward with
No, but carry
keeping
on,
their.
'cause that's our song.
I
That's
know.
that's the double entendre of the title of the song.
Yep.
Is carry on is what we're doing, but also carry. We did carry with IE.
Yes.
Instead of carry with a Y.
Yep.
So that's the double, the dual meaning, the dual diagnosis.
I
We're doing a bipolar title.
I know, but I got to tell you, I absolutely love doing this, and I love being able to carry on their legacy and to share with people and the public and all of the things that meant so much to your mom and your sister. So I am just excited about this show because this actually happens to be one of my favorite movies that she ever made, if not my
Let
favorite.
me come in there. You carry on without me.
I will. I'm just going to see if there's any questions here.
Unless you want people, before I leave
Yes.
the museum, are there any questions?
All
I'm about to
right.
walk out of the museum.
Oh, good. Thank you, BJ. We love every minute too, and so thank you for saying that. Did Debbie have a hard time learning the dancing? Well, I think that I'm going to ask Todd that because I know that she did in Singing in the Rain because that was her first big role and starring role, and we all know that story.
Yeah, no, I would just say that, at this point in her time, she's been dancing at this point a long time, 20 years, and she knew how to really learn quickly, and she was a pro at this point. When she started to sing in the rain, she was not. But by the time we did Molly Brown, I mean, a lot of the stuff you're seeing there is just her ad-libbing, and the choreography that was going on was done on the fly in many cases, with her kicking in her 2 cents worth. By the way, here's our backyard.
Oh,
It's
that's
kind of a cool Molly Brown item. You see, you got the bronze there.
Yep.
The Remington.
Yep.
And the Cleopatra stuff out there.
Yep. There's the pool. And then you're going to be passing our animal enclosures, which we have 30 or so animals back there.
Well, why don't I do it? I'm going to give you a quick.
Well, just
You tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, we're
Who's
just
gonna be on camera.
Oh, we have. Okay, so there we have a couple of racing pigeons that dropped out of the sky, and I rescued because I think it's a bit of a cruel sport, and they were lost, hungry, and near dead. So I brought them and gave them a beautiful enclosure to live in, and they have a very good life where they sit on their little eggs all the time. And we have the chickens there. Everything that is out there, our emu are rescued. So I pretty much just rescue farm animals and let them live in a wonderful, spacious, loving environment.
turn off my sound
Okay,
because
I hear you
I'm
just
in the
walk in the
studio.
door, so he's in the theater. We're going to be live with Todd in this chair with me and talking about my favorite musical of Debbie's.
On.
Okay, so let me just make sure that no one has asked
Check.
any other questions. He's getting his mic checked for in here since it did. Hey, Debbie Lewis, I know it is awesome. Thank you. We love it. We love sharing all of this with you. It's a cool thing too to live with all of this stuff. But of course, our dream is to put it in a place eventually where it will be enjoyed by the public because that's what it was intended for. So we're always putting that out there.
How did that work, by the way?
It worked so brilliantly because we didn't have any glitches. We didn't have any, we had bandwidth the whole time and everything was clear as a bell. Could hear you well, but I missed you and I'm glad you're back. Did you bring your cat with you?
She wouldn't come with. No, I would never drag her out here, right? She's probably never even been out here, right?
Yeah, no, she has not. And I'm thinking we're going to be going. My tour starts after the cruise, and so I'm going to be performing all over the country. If you want to know where, you can go to my Facebook page when you have time, and it's pinned at the top. My schedule for the tour, and Todd is coming with me this year, and we're going to take the bus, and I'm really excited about that because I don't have to stay in hotels, and I can have you with me. And here's the question. Do I bring the 2 cats with us? Because they've never been...
Oh, you're going to let the audience decide?
Yeah, well, no, I just think what they think about that because They are attached to us, and I'm worried that being gone for over we're going to be gone 10 weeks. And that's a long time. Now, the other animals are great because they have, I have someone that is looking after them as well as I do, if not better. And so I'm not worried about them. They get plenty of attention and food and love. That's really all that
Your
matters.
playback working?
But with the cats, they are attached to us. When we get in bed, they glom on, and they get a little neurotic when we're not there. So shall we take the 2 cats on the road with us? That is today's question.
Might be off topic
You
a
know
little
what,
bit, but okay.
Kyle, go ahead and put up a, what do you call those?
Oh, you want a graphic for
No,
questions?
no. Yeah, what is it called when, a poll. Put up a
Oh.
poll about whether we should take the cats with us. And by the way, if you see where we are, whether it's Salem, Virginia, Lewisburg, West Virginia, Columbus, Ohio, Essex County, Vermont, Barton, Vermont, wherever we're going, please come see us because it's going to be really fun. and
We were
the
going to
show
get
is
into
fun.
that dialogue later, right?
No, we're just doing our chat right now, and
No.
now we're going to go to
we were going
to the
get
show.
we were going to get into that, and Ryan and I were talking about the route and all that we're going to be on, but that was going to be a little later. We were going to try to stay on the Molly Brown topic.
Well, then here we go, right on to Molly Brown.
Right. Well, we're on it.
I'm so excited.
So
My
w-
favorite
we,
musical.
We showed you, if you stay on that number 2 camera, you can see the whole set, and I can kind of point things around. So
Right.
you notice over in the corner behind Kat over there
Right
is
there.
the belly up dress. Keep pointing at it. And
Right
then there's
there.
a one-sheet poster of
Right
Molly
there.
Brown. And then behind that Kat's head is the costume sketch.
Remove my
Now this
arm.
is Morton Hack's costume sketch of the red dress that you just saw in the museum in the house. And then behind me, now you notice how they tried to get him to leave the set. He wouldn't.
I
They took
noticed that the
C-3PO
others.
off. He said that he was around for Molly Brown and he deserved to be on the set. So he refused to leave. Same thing with R2. He came back in the room. We threw his ass out and he came back too because they said it's our grandmother. So we're talking about their grandmother, so we'll let it rock. Over on the side of me, go back to 2 camera. This is the little pink dress that she sits in the tree when Harv sings I'll Never Say No to You.
That's the first time I've ever seen this dress.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. That is the first time I've ever laid eyes on that costume.
Now behind that is the Unsinkable. Yeah, you can go to me on that because it actually shows up. My camera. Okay, I'm going to move my head. There's the belly up costume sketch by Morton Hack with costume swatch. Fabric swatches attached. So anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff on the set, and as we move along, we can highlight these items further and give you a little feel for it. And then if you want more of something, just let us know in the chat space. Please communicate to our people to let them know if there's something you want to see or hear more about or have any questions. I mean, Molly Brown is, so many people think that's the best Debbie movie ever. And in many ways, I think it is because it's so close to her actual personality and her, who she was at her core. And but they're obviously Singing in the Rain. There are other great things that she had done. But movie-wise, I mean, you have to admit that this movie really rocks. And what I love about this movie is that it is some of the, I think, best romantic music ever. It's Meredith Willson's score. It's some of the greatest. I Never Say No to You. He's My Friend. Belly Up the Barbie. He's some of the great music. And you know what's great about it? It's kind of raucous Americana music. So some of these movies like Oklahoma, they're kind of about a time in our history and they connect to our history and they're a great representation of music and the American songbook and how it connects back to our history as Americans and people of the USA. And Debbie was definitely all of that. So when, I just want to start, I think, unless you have something to start with, I was going to start with the doll and some stuff.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I have a question. When you're done, go ahead.
The only thing I just wanted to mention was that, and hello, America. How are you all tonight? I'm coming live to you from the wreck of the SS Titanic. We have a couple of items that you'll be talking about on sale at the DebbieReynoldsStudioStore.com. And what we're doing is they're all Molly Brown related items. One of them is actually on set next to Kat. It's a Monday at the Movies poster back from the hotel days, which is when Debbie would have her friends from the MGM days come and tell about their movies and do a Q&A with the audience. But this particular one, which we're going to show footage from tonight, is actually when Debbie did it with the Unsinkable Molly Brown. And it's signed by her, and it's from the Debbie Reynolds Hotel. And we also have 2 posters as well from the national tour of the Unsinkable Molly Brown, which Debbie did in 1989 with our president.
I'm sure I have a movie poster as well.
We don't have one up on the site right
No,
now.
but I if somebody wants that, I mean, I think we've done them before.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, I know I have a couple of spares. If you look behind Kat, cut to her camera. There's a
Whoops,
one
let me
sheet
get out of the
of the
way.
Unsinkable Molly Brown behind her, and I do have a couple of those available that I have stashed away for those of you. Now, we don't want to put a lot of time into this stuff. We'll do it even a little later. I think
Yeah.
we made the decision. I don't know how you all feel about this. Look at this. I look like Einstein sometimes with my hairdo.
It's part of your charm.
I'm not sure if the word charm applies.
Barb Kevern just asked how long it took to make Molly Brown, to make the film.
It went on for about a year all total. There was, if you watch, there's some really. Did you, by the way, put any of that black and white Morton Hack footage up? Because we could put that up.
Oh, we have it in the queue for tonight.
In the queue. So there is some very cool behind the scenes footage shot in black and white. I'm not sure why they chose to do that, except that they were trying to maybe save the glamour of the movie for the movie. But they filmed the making of makeup and hair and her sitting down and going over costume design with that very costume sketch behind you. So you're going to see things that are actually before they were in the movie, and then you're going to see them what we just showed you as well. So kind of a neat bunch of film clips and things of that nature. So without further ado, I mean, did you have something you wanted to start with, or can I just jump into it?
I'll let you go and I'll follow you. So.
Okay, well, what do you have? Let me, because I don't even know all the things
Well,
you have.
We have our first clip that we do have tonight is your mom talking about her experience making the movie and how that came
On
about.
Monday at the Movies.
No, another
Another thing. Let's start with that.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a bad way to roll into it. So we're going to have my mother, in her own words, start this off, and then we can just springboard off of that. I could do an hour on Molly Brown easy because it was the first time I was really old enough on a movie set, and I knew everybody, and I was starting to really get into the lot and all the technology and all of the cameras and all of the stuff. Sitting behind me is a camera that would have been used, not this exact camera, but that type of camera would have been used to film the Unsinkable Molly Brown. And it was the first time they didn't normally use multiple cameras to film dance numbers, but in this case they did, because the He's My Friend number is so out of control that there was pretty much no way to match it. Like if you think about a well choreographed dance number with Fred Astaire, they pretty much know exactly where we're going to be at a certain point in the music. Everything may seem spontaneous, but it's very well figured out. But He's My Friend was my mother, doing Irish jig tap numbers, and just out of control stuff. So I think it's great stuff. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to go to the clip, and then we'll come back to you guys. See you in a second. Watch this.
The first place, the role was cast with Shirley Mlan, who was under contract to Hal Wallace. And there was some sort of a lawsuit that happened between Shirley and Hal Wallace. And when you were under contract, he was going to loan her to MGM for Molly Brown. And then she couldn't do it because Hal wouldn't let her, which is to my good fortune. And so then MGM called me. I was second choice for Molly Brown. So I was very grateful I got to do the picture. So I learned that number in a day and a half, actually, that number. And the bar was very narrow. So at the end of the number, where we do turns, we go bop to bop, bop to bop, and then we end with our leg in the air as if, oh, it's nothing. Well, that was one of my hardest numbers in the picture. Now I had to learn a second number, which was the hardest number in the Unsinkable Molly Brown, which was called He's My Friend. That kind of dancing is very synchronized. And when you dance with 2 other people, you can't fake it, and it has to be right on. It's a jig. It's a dance, but it's a jig, and it's kind of, so it's a tap almost, but it's still called a jig. And if you make one mistake, you can't make one mistake. So we had 2 days to learn this number. Well, all the other dancers had like 10 weeks, but I was working on script. So I was shooting the story. So I didn't have time to rehearse. I was busy shooting. So then they only gave me 2 days because they were out of money. So either you shot it or you fail the movie. So they decided to shoot it in 2-camera technique, which hadn't been done then. Chuck Walters was the director. So he put one camera on the boom, one camera on another, and he said, now, Debbie, just go for it. And I said, just one take, because I know I'll pass out at the end of it. We're going to get it in one take, because I can never do it again. It was a 6-minute number, which is a very long number on film. Well, we did it, and we didn't make any mistakes. Nobody stopped, straight ahead, and the rollover at the very end, and ta-da! And it was a ta-da. Dialects are really easy for me, because sinon I can do any dialect. I can do French.
Merci, Votre Altesse. Permettez-moi de vous présenter Mrs. McGraw, che lei va divertirsi stasera. Grazie.
I do impersonations. I'm little Zsa Zsa Gabor, or Eddie Davis, or Katharine Hepburn, or, you know, anybody you want to throw out to me. So voices and languages are really kind of a gift that I can do. I can imitate really anybody, and do and have. In my nightclub act, I have a live variety show, and I do imitations of the people that I admire the most. Gambo, you know, all the different voices. It's fun.
Didn't know there was an inscription. Never had it off since the day he put it on.
So she decides that she's going to take off her ring, and as she takes off her wedding band, which she had never really looked inside of, and she reads his inscription. Well, always remember 2 things.
That I love you. And the name of the bank.
I kept that ring, as a matter of fact. I still have that little cigar band that Molly Brown wore in the movie, because I really loved it. And when my son Todd was married, he had cigar bands made for his wedding band. So Molly Brown is sort of part of our family. One of my favorite songs was, I'm gonna learn to read and write. I ain't down yet. I'm gonna see what there is to see. So if you go from nowhere on the road to somewhere, meet anyone, you know it's me. I'm gonna move from place to place and find a house with a golden stair. And if that house is red and has a big brass bed, I think I was Molly Brown, and I am Molly Brown.
That's perfect pitch. You're hearing perfect pitch.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I have goosebumps from that.
Well,
I love when I see something for the first time like that. That's the first time. And I get goosebumps.
And you know, who else could say or tell those stories better than her? But the truth of the matter is at that little interview, you know, she does a very concise job of telling some very, very important stories. She doesn't get into great detail in some of them, but she, you know, I love hearing her tell those stories, because I like to repeat the stories. And of course, she brings up the ring. If you cut to the close-up camera, you could see that there's the ring. Now you'll notice that the red enamel from behind the Indian head is missing, but that's the ring. And if you notice,
did it just wear off?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually like an enamel paint that was painted in there. And she did save this ring. And as she points out, I love hearing her say that she saved it. It's really cool. It's really a beautiful little ring. One of the funny things about, I'm going to take it in my hand here. One of the funny things in the movie is when they're talking about this ring, the actor that's with her, you know, says, have you ever read, you know, what's inside inscribed?
Right.
And of course, you know, look how little this ring is. I mean, you know, I'll come back over here close up for a second. I mean, this is teensy tiny. My pinky does not even fit.
She
this.
had tiny fingers.
Right, but look,
yeah.
There's my pinky, and I can't even get it on my pinky. So it's very small. So he's reading the inscription. He says, always remember 2 things, that I love you and the name of the bank. And that's very romantic and cute, and and she cries, and of course that busts me up just because whenever my mother cried, I had to cry with her. Sort of that's a
tradition.
the unwritten rule of mothers and sons. But there's no way you could have written all that on the inside of this ring. Is the funny part. But it's what they call.
May I try it on?
Yeah, it's what they call poetic license.
Yes.
And no, you're not getting on there, Pinky.
It's almost there.
Well, put it. Okay.
No, I mean I could
Try your
push it,
pinky.
but then it won't come off. Pinky, it's too big.
Oh,
I
wow.
have very tiny fingers, but the knuckle.
Well, hold
is
up your
the-
hand and show everybody. then.
Hold on, let me just put it on as best I can. There you go. If you want to get close, I don't know if you can.
He doesn't have control of that right now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ring.
Well, anyway,
Absolutely
the cool thing
gorgeous.
about the story, of course, in the movie is that his best man loses the ring, and then quickly they get a cigar band off of the cigar and say, "This will have to do now." And the guy goes, "This will do for now."
Yep.
And they put it on her finger, and then and that becomes the wedding ring. Well, when they get money, this becomes the follow-up to that. But the movie is full of like. It's truly a remarkable job to tell that story in that 100 minutes or whatever they do. And in fact, it starts. Can you hand me that? Or maybe I'll do it myself.
No.
Would you hand it to me?
What is
Yeah,
it?
carefully
the
hand
doll?
me that. Now, so there's a doll that we have on the set, and you could see. I gave birth. Exactly. So the doll is very delicate, but this is the stunt double. In the beginning of the movie, come back to me.
So when the baby is rushing down the river,
coming
yeah.
down the river. This is my mother.
Yes.
This is her stunt double for coming down the river, and how she decided to save this, or did she buy it? I don't even know if she bought it at the auction because I don't remember.
It was, if you look in the playback camera.
Okay.
If you go to playback.
All right, go to playback.
It was,
Playback. 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 Playback.
not
Buck.
my back,
There.
playback.
Yeah, but see, that's way later.
No, this was given to her at a San Francisco film festival. A gentleman who, I dug up on this.
Okay.
A gentleman who bought the baby at auction.
Oh,
gave
so
it back
somebody
to
did
her.
buy it.
Yeah, he gave
And
it
then he
back.
gave
And
it back to her.
just like one of the Singing in the Rain.
I think
dresses.
that's really
that's
cool to
awesome.
do.
Yeah.
It
gives me goosebumps just to look at that baby. I've
But
never
I
seen
can't.
the
I
baby.
I totally understand how that would have slipped through the cracks. Lots of things slip through the cracks. When you're collecting memorabilia back in the day, not everything made it into the auction. I doubt that. It's hard for me to believe that was even in the auction. There's some great pictures of
That's
it.
the real baby.
Yeah, but you'll see the fake baby, and then there's scuba divers in there. Do we have that footage of her with the divers?
No.
I'll explain that. Well, remember, where did I see that recently? We had it on something. So we have some still pictures. Go ahead and let it rip. Just let it play. It's not going to affect anything. See, now that's a fake baby there. See, that's the fake baby. That's the real baby. Cut to the fake, the real. There's the fake baby, obviously. There's the real baby. And so that's supposed to be my mother and how she was lost in the rapids. You can cut to me. You want some coffee back there? Give this to Buck, will you? I think he needs this. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Buck, I want you to drink this whole can in the next 5 minutes. I know so his reflexes are off. The whole division would be wiped out on the beachhead. So what's happening is when you're collecting this kind of stuff and you go to these auctions, and my mother was beginning, she didn't have a clear vision when we were at the MGM auction as to how this would all play out. And even when we did the museum in Las Vegas finally, that item didn't even make it into the final mix because we didn't even have room for all the costumes that are around me right now. The pink costume behind me, unfortunately, wouldn't have made it into the mix, and a lot of things. You saw in her little clip there, she was talking about belly up to the bar boy, and so, we should use the close-up camera, and we'll talk about that for a second. So he's got a hold of the close-up camera right now. So zoom in on. Can we get? Oh, you can't even yeah, you can move it, I guess. Sure.
Do I need to move out of the way?
No, I'll just come over here.
Okay.
He's got it over here. I should probably move it in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Just to give you a little more
Oh,
of a
yes,
shot.
it's being blocked. There you go. I love this number so much.
So you could see this is supposed to be kind of cheesy because, it would have been a poor person. This is a costume they allegedly had laying around that they gave her to wear when she was first becoming a bar hall singer dancer. And what's so cool about this number is, you know, she's the guy. She goes in and she says to the bar, to the guys running the bar, "Hey, need a job? I'm starving." You know, he says, "Well, you know, I'm not really looking for a woman helper." And she goes, "Well, you know, I can do anything. I can." He says, "Well, can you sing?" She goes, "Oh, I can sing the hogs out of the hills." And he says, "Can you dance?" "Yeah, sure. Can you play the box?" "The what?" "The box, you know, the piano." She says, "Oh, yeah, sure, I could play." Now, of course, she didn't play the piano. She was just doing anything to get the job, which I think a lot of people could relate to, right? So, of course, that's the famous scene where she's sitting at the piano and she's going, belly, 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 belly. She's trying to figure out what notes apply. And then they do a slam cut to Belly Up. And that is such a magical moment when they go from her, like, trying to figure out how to play that song. And I remember being there for that. So that's why it was such an important, let's just say, song to me when I was a little boy. That's why I always tell the story of Rudy Render, her musical arranger, who was with her during this movie. You know, every time he'd say, "What do you want to hear?" Because we'd be always waiting for her or something in the music room. And he'd say, "What do you want to hear while we're waiting?" And I'd be like, "Belly Up." And then he would go, ding, 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 ding. Belly up to the bar, boys. Let your money be seen. Only drink by day or night or somewhere in between. I mean, it's like, you know, great stuff. And, you know, Carrie and I just kind of grew up with this stuff being part of our life. And it almost became like she says, "I am Molly Brown." It's almost like the exact same thing that happened to Carrie. Like, I am Princess Leia.
Right.
You know, so Debbie is Molly Brown.
Well, they had a lot of similarities in that department because Debbie got her break on Singing in the Rain at the same age Carrie got her break for Star Wars. Exactly the same age, if I'm not mistaken.
It is 19. They were 19 years old each.
So I think that, and Debbie became Molly Brown, and she even named her book Unsinkable, you know, her last autobiography.
Yep.
And Carrie also talked about saying Princess Leia, and she were in fact one. She was the steward of the character. You know?
that is what sort of these things where this is where you know, art becomes life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and but it was already there. I mean, they were these characters before these characters ever were, and you know, Carrie breathed life into Princess Leia. My mother brings life and breathes life into Molly Brown. And I mean, you know, you heard her telling the story of Shirley Mlan in this part. I'm sure Shirley would have done a fine job. But at this point in time, I don't see how anybody could be Molly Brown. In fact,
what a drag to miss out on that part. You know, like the.
Right.
Whew,
But
it was meant to be your mom's. I mean, clearly.
It certainly was meant to be.
It meant to be.
I think when you think about like all of the different, so behind me, it's hard to see it, but it's right behind me is the costume sketch. I mean, you almost have to use the close-up camera to do it. No, it's behind me, I understand, but it's not very clear. You could get closer. Can you see it? Oh, it's blocked. Never mind. It's okay. I mean, you could see behind me is the costume sketch from the costume we just showed you from Belly Up. And we showed you the Belly Up number. Now, something kind of cool that we're going to do next week is we're going to watch the movie, The Unsinkable Molly Brown, with all of you. We're going to make that available on the Patreon site. We're going to watch the movie. You'll have a camera behind us and a camera on us. And as the movie is going on, I'll tell stories that relate specifically to being on the set. Mm-hmm. And what I observed, you know. You heard her tell a cool story there. She talked about the He's My Friend number. And in that number, now, by the way, we have that dress, but it's very fragile. Where is it? Oh, I have the sketch. There's
the dress is in the house, but it's
here,
fragile.
But it's very light chiffon material. It's very delicate. But the He's My Friend number, I have to tell you, was also one of my favorite numbers. There's a lot of numbers in this movie that are my favorites. That number is awesome because it's such a great song about friendship and loyalty, and it's such a, you know, powerful song, and you know, it's missing those types of elements are missing from today's society. You know, the loyalty and the friendship that transcends all things, and that song is about that. And what's great about that dance number, you heard her just explain, he only had 2 days to learn the number. Everybody else had many days. But it's so right up her alley. When I was in the museum, somebody asked the question, you know, did she have a hard time with these numbers? And you could see she's obviously much older at that point. You know, she's 30 years old during Molly Brown, and so she is quite capable. But you heard her say it was hard work because I only had 2 days to figure it.
Richard Klebe asked if she was nominated for an Academy Award for this film.
Right, so we didn't bring that out, did we? Oh, we did bring that out. See, Seth's on the ball, boy, I tell you what.
There you go.
There he goes. So a question was, did she get nominated? And yes, she did. This is the nomination certificate. She should have won the Academy Award for that part, but you know, she lost it to the very deep and layered performance by Julie Andrews for Mary Poppins. I mean, you can understand how Mary Poppins, you know, would outperform Debbie and Molly Brown. Now, I'm being facetious, of course, because the Academy does this. They do house cleaning. They screwed over Julie Andrews for The Sound of Music. Like Sound of Music is like Molly Brown to Debbie. It's the quintessential role. I have to admit, Julie Andrews, though, in the Americanization of Emily, in my opinion, is unbelievably beautiful and talented in that. It's incredible.
She's great
movie.
in everything she does.
She is, but let's face it, The Sound of Music is epic.
Yeah.
And you know, and so how does that movie get panned? Oh, it's a musical or whatever, you know, and they don't. I mean, that should have cleaned house, that movie. But they blew her off, and then they owed it to her, so they had to then do damage control and give her the Mary Poppins Best Actress award. I bet you that was embarrassing to her in many ways. You know, like, I mean, it's so indicative of how they operate, though. You know, recently you've probably noticed that I was rather vocal about the choice for Best Picture this year.
Yeah.
And you and I watched the movie that won for Best Picture, and we were stupefied, stunned that movie. It's a great little movie, you know, for what they spent on it and all the rest of it. I give them credit for all of that, but it's not Best Picture. And so to put that movie in the category of all these other great movies that we're talking about, you know, up against My Fair Lady or Dr. Zhivago.
I mean, it didn't help that we watched Gone with the Wind right before the Academy Awards.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered.
But I mean, you know, you always think of an Academy Award winning film as something epic.
So that is
epic
sort of
in performance or epic in scope.
It's
or,
not just the epic aspect of the movie.
No.
Okay, Bridge on the River Kwai. You know, you could name movies that are huge movies, but you know, The Longest Day. I mean, there are big epic movies, Lawrence of Arabia, epics, right?
Well, when I say epic, I don't mean it has to be this huge movie, but what it has to be is epic performances, epic direction.
Well, let's take the Godfather,
writing.
for example. I mean, that's an epic of sorts, but it isn't like epic like, let's say, Lawrence of Arabia. But the performances and the complexities of the story are epic, and it deserves winning. This movie, to put it in the same category, it's stunning. I mean, I have nothing further. It's just shocking. So when they yes, Debbie got nominated, did not win. She should have won. However, to the Academy's credit, they did clean up later on and gave my mother this Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award for not only her career, but for her career and her humanitarian work mixed in with it. So I thank the Academy for doing damage control and cleaning up and giving my mother an Oscar for her work across the board. I mean, my mother obviously was quite the philanthropist and learned her, she was heavily influenced from her trips to Korea in the 50s where my father met her and claimed her as his prize. And then later her work with the Thalians and the City of Hope and, you know, on and on and on. I mean, she just was such the great person to work with all charities and all causes, the humanities, I guess is a good way to put it. So having said that,
I
back
have a
to the
question.
movie,
We
right?
have, yes.
We have more questions.
Someone's asking if you recall the night of the Academy Awards that your mom was nominated.
Oh yes, Carrie and I went with her to the Academy Awards, and we were furious. Carrie and I, kids.
Kids take it harder than the adults.
Well, and my mother didn't even flinch. Like I don't. She was prepared, but I remember when I was looking at her when she didn't win, and I was kind of like, I thought she was going to show some emotion or something, but she just cruised right past it. Carrie and I were like outraged, that they would have passed on her. When you're the child of a star, and you see that work that they did, like I was there to see it under construction when all the planning and shooting was going on and the technical aspects of it, and that was you watch the unveiling of it, but you really don't know what it looks like. We didn't go to very many screenings. Like they wouldn't let the kids in the screening room with the director, and run the dailies. Occasionally we get to see some dailies. So we really didn't know how all this was going to come together, but we were on the set a lot. Not necessarily during the filming always, but we got to be on the set. I told you a story of me on the set, the cabin that he builds for her. I told you that was a set, and I told you where the Silver Dollar Ranch in Ridgeway, Colorado, is where the ranch and the house allegedly is, and all the exteriors are there, and even the if you go to the two-shot first, well, you could see it. Even the I'll Never Say No to Your Number in the Tree was shot there, but the cabin actually didn't exist in that location. It was actually cleverly cut together, and it's built on a stage, including the mountain that she throws the pickaxe into and discovers the gold. Now, so I'm like 6 years old or something, and when I saw this gold mine, I don't know a kid, that isn't mesmerized by that. And the prop man that was in charge, the set designer and the prop man were both sort of in charge of these things, and I had sort of an unlimited take home of fool's gold, pyrite. And I was mesmerized by that. I just thought, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I have these big chunks of gold. And I was there to see them film that scene. And there was a guy up behind the rocks, the fake rocks, pouring buckets of pyrite through the shaft as he throws the pickaxe up there. It's always the magic, how it comes across on film, but when you're standing on the sidelines and you see some guy up there, with a bucket,
Yeah.
It takes kind of the romance out of things. But at any event, that was such a magical scene for me. That's how they get rich in the movie. It's a great moment. And in that little house, I didn't drag it out here, but my mother also at the auction purchased the Potbelly Stove that they burn the money up in.
Where is it?
It's actually out in our container storage right now.
You
And-
realize how much stuff there is that I have never seen? It's remarkable.
Well, the stove has always been begging for a place. In fact, we were going to pull it out for Colorado when we built the house in Colorado in the 60s, and I don't know why it never found its way there. Oh, because she would never have done that. It was being saved for the museum. I got to wake up here. Only recently would have any of this stuff been used elsewhere like the way I'm doing it. My growing up, we never had any of this stuff on display. The only thing I ever could put my hands on growing up were these scripts. I can go close-up, I guess. Go close-up camera, let's see what happens. Close-up camera. Oh, it's not on, Seth. Come back to me. Try to get a close-up shot of this. So these are scripts. All my mother's scripts are bound by this company. This is from the Unsinkable Molly Brown, as we're talking about. And, this was a company that was in Hollywood. In fact, it was on Selma Avenue in Hollywood. The sticker is actually here. Just zoom in on that little sticker. You can see that's the original sticker from the company that sold it to, or shall we say, bound these. So all of hers were bound like this, beautifully bound. So as a kid, I used to see these scripts, and they eventually found their way to the beach house. I don't know why. There's the front pages of the script. But at the beach house, so 1962, by the way, when this began, so as the script began, it was 62. So there's the outfit right next to me. So right there. Zoom in on that one. Yeah, there you go. So right there is the outfit. Now cut back to me. So right behind me there is that outfit from that scene. So she would have them put still pictures in here that relate to the script, and then she would, you know, have the script. And then all of these were kept together. It was the only memorabilia in our house was a shelf full of these scripts. And it didn't even make it to the Greenway house. It was at the beach house. It had been downgraded. So there was nothing in the house growing up that related to Hollywood memorabilia. And always people assume, most collectors I know, of course, have their stuff on display as we do, but that's a recent development.
Do we have more video, or let's do it?
Of course we do.
Of course.
Playback.
Oh, there. That's right.
Right. Well, so that's the.
I want a red
Well,
silk dress.
so I have
I
this
wanna go
dress
see
right
Jennifer.
here
Yeah.
next to me. I don't think I have the pink ribbon in her hair.
Go jump in the lake.
Probably shouldn't play too much, right? All right. In fact, the way to do that, you know, in the future is just to put it up here. Buck, any clips, I'm going to put it up on the screen next to me on number 2, just so we don't run into problems. But there it is. There was that pink dress with him singing to her. And that's such a romantic number that I've always incorporated into my life.
And so on our Patreon page, there'll be longer versions of these clips. Am I right about that? There'll be
Over to our Patreon page for the show, we have longer clips. Well, all of our clips that we have from the archives, we edit them together, we edit the sound together, and so we're actually having them up on our Patreon page, which is called Behind the Stage Doors with Kat and Todd. And that is where you can find all of these clips that we're going to be showing today. But actually, they're going to be longer than what you see today on the show. It's going to be in its entirety.
Yes, and so you get a kind of a taste of what it is, but they're so cool to watch in its entirety because you get to see things that people have never seen and will only see on our Patreon page.
Well, we're going to make other things available too. So it is. I'm sort of designing this thing to be an archive. So some of this stuff could be somewhere. You know,
right, but not likely to.
Much of it is not.
Be
so
seen.
we were discussing earlier the Monday at the Movies that we did at the hotel, which was a program that we started where my mother would invite a friend in, we'd interview the star, we'd run their movie, we'd have a live Q&A with the audience, and we have all those filmed. And so that's going up when, Debbie's? Now?
Tonight, later tonight, yeah.
Show tonight, and we actually have some footage to talk about that if you want to talk about.
I will talk about that. So we're gonna show you that right now. So my mother decided to. I think what we had like a problem with a guest canceling, and she said, "Well, I'll just be my own guest," and so she did Molly Brown, and everybody came to hear Debbie talk about Molly Brown. So much like what you saw earlier in the show, you have her telling stories. There's only one thing I noticed about this that is odd. She gets the words wrong, telling the Chuck Walters story. So when she says that I went to Charles Walters and said I really wanted to do this part, and he said, "Debbie, you're too small for the part." And she says, "Well, how small is the part?" Now, that's the actual line, but in this, you'll see what she says in Money at the Movies if you watch it. She says, "Too short for the part." And then she said, "How short is the part?" And that's not exactly how I went, but the part is too small for you. Well, how small is the part? It was a pretty classic moment in movie lore about how these things come to be. So with that, we were going to play you a segment from Monday at the Movies.
I was very lucky to get that part. You know, I wasn't set for the movie. Shirley Mlan was going to do this movie. Yeah. Oh, you're sorry she didn't do it? No, she was working at Paramount. I mean, she was under contract to this one big producer. And he just didn't want to loan her to MGM because she was Paramount, you know, with this big producer. And, but they made some sort of an arrangement. And the last minute, he changed his mind and he said, no, she can't do it. And she would have been in a lawsuit. So MGM was very nervous. And I had been waiting in the hall for an appointment because I saw the play in New York. And I loved it. You know, I said, oh boy, if that's me, you know, Molly Brown is like me. I said, I should play that part. Why can't I play that part? And they didn't want me. They didn't want me. They wouldn't even see me, the director. He wouldn't see me. Chuck Walters was his name. He's gone now. But I had worked with him in another movie, The Tender Trap. But he still thought of me as that little girl, you know, in The Tender Trap, and he didn't think I could act well enough. You know, people are interesting. They don't they can grow and they can become more mature, but you don't. You just stay a little dummy girl, you know. So I got really upset with him. But I was sitting in the hallway for days, and they wouldn't talk to me. And then because of the lawsuit, they thought, well, who are we going to get? You know, if Shirley is in a lawsuit, who if we don't use Shirley Mlan? And they were all upset. Now, Chuck Walters, the director, it was raining that day. I'll never forget this day. It was raining, and I was rich then. My second husband hadn't lost all the money yet. I didn't know I had just a couple of years to go. What happened? Oh, you know, he played that. So now it was raining, right? So I'm all dressed up for this meeting, and the director comes, and the producer, and they sat down in my wonderful living room with all my antiques and stuff, you know. And Chuck Walters says to me, now, Debbie, I personally don't know how you could possibly handle this part. He said, you know, we worked together before, and you're just okay. I said, thank you. I said, you understand how many years ago that was? And I've worked really hard, and I've studied very hard, and I'm a much better actress now. And he said, well, there are other problems about you. He said, you're too short. I said, how short is the part? Too short? That's what he said. Isn't that stupid? So, lucky for me, MGM and the producer, his name was Larry Weingarten, they decided that I was going to do it anyway, whether he liked it or not. Now, the awful part is, the first day we start shooting, he says to me, I just don't know how you're going to do this. So I said, why don't you just say roll 'em and stand back? That's what he did. He just said, roll 'em. I swear to you, he just said, roll 'em. Like that one big scene where I had to come through the bushes over to the neighbor's yard. You know, I say, howdy, 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 I'm Molly Brown. How, you know, and she was so obnoxious. And he said, well, you'll never be able to do this scene. It's much too strong. You'll never be strong enough. I don't know what he was thinking about. I don't think he really, naturally, he didn't know me. See, you know, I don't do movies today, so they think that you're just the same, right? Just a little girl and you can't act and you can't do, but they forget that you grow just like everybody here. You know, in our work, we do get better, don't we? And then we retire just when we're perfect. Something's wrong with the whole system. Did you have popcorn today? How come I don't smell it? I love, Oh, you ate it. I hope there's some left, because I want to take some home with me. I love popcorn. Oh, you got some left? Oh, I just love popcorn. You know, after Eddie left, I couldn't eat because I had ulcers over that jerk. And all I did was eat popcorn, drink Coca-Cola. And I lived. And he looks lousy, and I'm fine. Now, my son says he's really nice. That's what Todd says that to me. He says, well, Dad's really mellowed. I said 50 years later, he should have. He wants me to be friendly with him. Oh, well, I can't do that. We don't forget anything, do we? We're like elephants, you know. I just never forget who does me in. I mean, you know, it's like you try and remember that first lover that was any good. I haven't gotten that memory yet. Certainly wasn't Eddie. I keep reading those books where they say, and then she groaned and moaned. Fatal attraction. Do you have some questions for me? I'm open to anything.
If you'd like to come up to the center aisle,
When was my
leaving
what?
the outside aisles free, come on up in the
When was
center
Molly
aisle.
Brown made? Gosh. 62? Have you got it in there? When was it made? 62. Oh, isn't that interesting? Now I'm 62. 62, gosh. That's a long time ago, isn't it? How many years is that? 32? Didn't I look cute in that movie? I swear. You know, I had just lost a baby. Did you notice Belly Up to the Bar? You know that number when I'm doing all that dancing? Did you see how plump my arms were? See, just before they started that picture, I was pregnant, and unfortunately, the baby died in the 9th month, you know. Well, you know, that happened to me twice. They told me that the first time would never happen again, and of course, I'm just so lucky that way. Oh, dear. So that's why I was plump in that one number, but then I got rid of that pretty fast. You know, I worked so hard in that picture that my figure came back pretty fast. So I had a lot of things happen to me before that picture and during the picture, and the fact that they didn't want... Do you have a question for me?
Thank you for allowing us who are disabled to become...
Don't you cry, because I'll cry. And I always cry when people cry. I always sob, and my boobs get wet, and my shirt goes... I mean, now don't cry. You'll be all right. Don't cry.
For us who are disabled to be allowed to come into the showroom first. And I want to tell you, I know all of us who are disabled appreciate that, and we say thank you.
I built the ramps just for you. Thank you, dear.
What does
Ooh, that got me. I'm very much like that. You know, when people start to cry over something sentimental or loving, it just gets me. That's beautiful.
Well, there's some really good questions in there, actually.
And the full video of that is on Patreon as well.
Right. So if you're a Patreon member of our
Yeah.
group, you can watch all of these things unedited. You can scan through them, of course, but like there's obviously things in here that might not interest you because everybody has a different question, and she will, you know, she's going to answer all questions.
Oh, I don't think anybody's going to scan through that.
Well,
I think
there's
it's all
actually
pretty great.
there's actually a funny one in there. Someone says, "What does Todd do?" Oh, you have it like ready to play, you mean? It's pretty funny. Go ahead if you want. If you insist. It's worth doing. You're right.
Todd designed this, and he does all the, he installed everything, the sound. He built this. He designed it. Our crew and all the kids here today.
I'm right here, Mother.
Todd is right here. Hi, honey. Say hello to this lady.
I'm up here.
Where are you?
In the light booth.
Where are you?
Right up here. See the light board? Look straight ahead.
Are you going to go on camera?
There he goes. There's Judy.
I can't see you, though.
No, she's blind.
Did
Everybody
you
else.
see? Did you see?
I saw.
That's
Oh,
Todd.
no.
He looks just like his father. It's such
Oh, my mama.
Go ahead and sing, dear. Oh, my papa. To me, he was not wonderful. No. But that's my son, Todd. I don't know what I'd do without him. He's really been my right hand, you know, because there was so much, there still is so much work to do. We're building the museum across the hall. Todd designed the new museum right across the hall with wonderful rotating stages where we'll have all of our costumes of all the different stars and the props and the furniture. So he's a very creative young man, and he's really my love.
Okay. See, I got my plug in there. It's nice to have a mother brag about you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, she has many times said that these costumes wouldn't even still be here, and this was when we had a football field of all the costumes that she owned. And, you know, that she often said if it weren't for you, they would be all over the place because they were moved and, you know, and they so many times, and
I was shocked.
You took care of them.
Well,
and
I was shocked. So I hadn't really paid attention to how they were stored. But at DR Studios, we had a whole section of that building, double racks of costumes. And I knew about the rooms, but I didn't really go in there and look at the stuff until we had the hotel. And then we were like, we're going to do the museum. So I went over to DR Studios, and I was shocked at how the stuff was stored. I mean, I was like, who did this? I mean, It was shocking. I mean, there were 2x4 racks, which is how the studio did it.
Shockingly badly stored.
Done.
Yeah. Well, they
And-
can't be because they're decades and decades old, and they have got to be carried and stored in a certain temperature and touched
Well,
only
none of
with
that
gloves.
was happening.
Yeah.
But it wasn't happening at the studio either. So everybody just sort of moved it from the studio to DR Studios, and it had very little care compared to what it should have had. And immediately I built a room at the hotel where we started to store the costumes and redo how everything was stored. So I literally, over a period of many years, we repacked every costume using muslin bags and acid-free tissue and different kinds of boxes, or if they're hanging, they're in muslin bags. Not everything can hang. Some of these chiffon costumes
had to be
would
put
just
in-
fall apart
Yeah.
if you tried to hang them.
This is why I haven't seen so many of the costumes, because they were always stored in the muslin bags.
Right, they're
And so they were covered, and there were so many.
You
that
see the tag.
I saw the tag, and then of
Now,
course
speaking
I
of that,
asked
are
you
we
to show
gonna
me.
we're gonna have Monday? We're gonna have the Magnificent Obsession show up at some point too. So we filmed a segment for a show that we were gonna do called Magnificent Obsession with my mom going through the collection, and a lot of that stuff was shot at the ranch in those rooms that were eventually built to house the majority of the collection. The vast majority of the collection, even after we closed the museum in Vegas, parts of the collection my mother kept with her in Vegas, but the bulk of the collection, especially the stuff that was owned by the museum, was moved to California, and that was literally a few thousand costumes. So we would tape segments there as well. So you'll be able to see things that really doesn't exist anymore. But there's Debbie going through the archives, and it's really. I'm glad we shot a lot of that stuff. And,
Yes.
And that's the other thing, for those of you that we're streaming on Debbie's page, and so for Debbie people that care about Debbie and what she was doing, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be able to put up, not only about her career, but about the museum or about her charities. We have Thalian Ball stuff to put up. There's just so much stuff that'll find its way up to the Patreon site.
Right. So I think we might have a video clip of the costume,
the process.
the documentary, just a little bit of.
What do you have?
The,
Oh, yeah. So earlier I mentioned the costume sketches that are behind me and Kat. And the costumes were designed for Molly Brown by Morton Hack, who's a veteran from the MGM studios. And he does a little documentary with my mother during the making of Molly Brown, or pre-production, I should say. And it's really quite extraordinary to have this, because MGM did not do this very often. I think it's very rare. I don't see it happen very often. So we're going to run a piece of that for you as well. I think it's kind of cool to see the behind-the-scenes stuff. Let's do it.
This hand belongs to young Morton Hack, one of Hollywood's most talented costume designers. He is conceiving an idea for one of the 30 elaborate costumes he will design for Debbie Reynolds in the new musical film, The Unsinkable Molly Brown. Many years ago, when movies began, actors and actresses sometimes selected their own clothes for their films. Today, Hollywood's designers have even more influence on style and fashion than do the couturiers of Paris, New York, and Rome. After the sketch is completed, Mr. Hack meets with Miss Reynolds and others concerned with making of the picture to discuss the costumes. Charles Walters will direct Molly Brown, as he has many other great MGM musicals. For Debbie Reynolds, the part of Molly Brown, who 60 years ago became a legend in Colorado, is the greatest challenge of a brilliant career. Lawrence Weingarten, who is producing the picture, has the final say on what will and will not be used in the film. But in his office, Weingarten and his associate, Roger Edens, are anxious to get the opinion of everyone before making final decisions. After some discussion, Hack's sketch for the gown is approved without a change. The next step, star and designer inspect some of the more than 500,000 yards of rare material stored in the main wardrobe building, finally decide on cut red velvet. In this and 6 other buildings housing MGM's wardrobe department are kept not only beautiful laces, ribbons, and material, but close to 1 million individual costumes used in pictures of the past. Yet, new outfits must be created for the stars in each new film. This one, for Miss Reynolds, although it is a period gown, may well influence famous fashion designers as far away as Hong Kong and Johannesburg. Red coat feathers, more than 100 of them, will be used on the bodice. Just the right jewelry must be selected to suit the dress, and MGM designers have thousands of pieces from which to choose. In one of the many sewing rooms, the red velvet material, 10 yards of it, is cut to a pattern. MGM's wardrobe department employs from 200 to 300 persons, each a specialist. Seamstresses are the finest to be found anywhere. Much of their work is done by hand, and the elaborate costumes for the unsinkable Molly Brown require use of all their skills. Miss Reynolds' dress now is fitted to a form fashioned to her exact measurements. Forms for all top stars are kept permanently in the department. The coat feathers are attached to the sleeves and are carefully shaped like a bird across the bodice. More than 1,000 sequins become part of the dress, and each must be glued to the material by hand. At last, the dress is completed, but first it must be tested to make certain color, texture, and design are perfect enough to pass the piercing eye of a motion picture camera. The beautiful red velvet trimmed with chiffon ruffles, ribbon, and feathers is photographed from every angle. Even the lace-covered panties and the red stockings. The test has proved more than successful, and so the big day arrives when the dress will go to work. Debbie Reynolds, movie star, reports to the studio makeup department at 7 in the morning and emerges later, Molly Brown of Denver, Colorado. A car drives her to the soundstage where cameras are waiting to photograph her with co-star Harve Presnell and the dress. This is the moment literally hundreds of people have been working towards. And so the scene begins.
Cool. So that's, they don't do this very often. I mean, I could tell you there's just a handful of these I've ever seen. And it's really interesting. They chose to do that in black and white so they weren't giving away too much, so to speak. They're talking about this as a red velvet dress. Now, by the way, for those of you who didn't see the dress, when you watch this, maybe when we're done, rewind to the beginning, you'll see me with that dress in our museum here at the house. I walked through it earlier in our show. So if you want to see that costume and some other things that are in the house that we didn't drag out here. And part of the reason why we didn't drag it out here was just for what you just saw. The sequins are hand glued, the feathers, all that is so fragile, and you don't move it unless you really need to move it. And if you do, then you have to do it carefully. And it shouldn't just be put in a bag either. I mean, this stuff is, you're getting up there. This stuff is truly fragile. I mean, you're 60 years in on this stuff. So I have costumes substantially older, but none that are at that level of complexity and being that fragile.
That building that she was entering in to see the costume, have been in there because, MGM, that's where Chips was filmed and a couple of other shows that I was on. And so when I was watching her go in there, I was thinking how great that is still there.
Well, I don't really know.
I don't know if it's still there, but it was in the 80s when I was there.
Yeah, I think they did keep some of those buildings. But, they also, of course, would move the makeup departments to the stage a lot of times, but not always. But I remember being in those buildings as a little boy, and Carrie and I just watching the magic. You just wake up, and you're like, fall out of bed, get driven to the studio, and then she's half asleep sitting in the chair, and then you just watch things come to life. Because not only would they do your hair and makeup in there, then they would dress you. And it was an incredible transformation. And the craftsmen, if you noticed in the clip that we just ran, those were no spring chickens. Those girls that were sewing those costumes, those girls probably were there for Marie Antoinette and all of the great Garbo and Hepburn and Betty Davis costumes. And, you're talking about some of the greatest craftsmen in the history of costume making were employed at MGM. Now, obviously, a lot of other studios, had great... Warner's had a great costume department, as did Fox and Paramount. They all had different levels. But MGM, was the General Motors of its day. They were the biggest of big. And I like to tell that story about Disney, Walt Disney. I have a letter where he was writing a letter to somebody else, and he said, if I could only have like what MGM has, like just give me one Debbie Reynolds, what I could do with that. And he was really kind of saying they have these big studios have the market cornered. They have mined for talent, cornered the market on the talent, and
signed them up,
and
secured them.
Well, like he could go. You notice how they do loan outs. Like Fox did loan outs with my mom regularly, but you didn't see them loaning my mom out to Disney. So clearly there was some politics at play there where they did. You know, he was the Elon Musk of the movie industry. I mean, he was a cartoon
Disney,
guy.
yeah.
And then he built an amusement park. What kind of guy builds an amusement park and make cartoons? He can't be taken seriously. You know, I mean, they railroaded the guy.
Someone, let me just, there was something that, Nikki, I thought Edith Head designed a majority of MGM's costumes.
No, so they had, everybody was at MGM. You know, you had Adrian, you had Helen Rose. I mean, if you notice, you'll see a lot of the classic films, you'll see Sidney Gilroy and Edith Head's name a lot.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, there's some truth to that. But you notice how when they were talking about him, they said the young Morton Hack, he was her protege.
Was Edith's protege.
Right. So nobody got any credit except the department heads. Now, you know darn well Bill Tuttle did not do the makeup on every friggin' movie. Sidney Gilroy did not do the hair. He designed the hair and supervised all these other people that were under him in the hair department. Hundreds of movies done by these people.
In the 70s, I did a movie at Universal, and Edith Head was the costume designer, and designed my costume too, and that was 77, I think.
Well,
76.
by then everybody was out of work.
Yeah, so people were able to freelance all over.
Well, when you say they were able to, there wasn't one of them that was happy about that. Nobody that had been there in the heyday, in the golden era, liked the breakup of the studio system. Nobody wanted that format, the freelance format. Like, this is not football, you know, where they're like, oh, I'm going to be a free agent. I mean, everybody.
It was better because you were a team, and you had teammates that you knew were going to work on this movie and the next and the next. So there was no breaking in personalities or talent or having to break in anything new because they were a team and they were going to go from project to project together.
Well, it was that's certainly important, but it was also nobody had to think about where their next paycheck was coming from. Today, in the movie industry, people are always out looking for work because the moment you're right in the middle of a project, you don't know what your next project is. But at MGM, everything was figured out for you. Everybody there, down to the smallest prop man or carpenter or electrician, you know, they all had their schedules figured out for them. Yeah, the movie stars too, but it was like a giant spreadsheet of talent, and it was assigned in a military-like fashion to deploy talent where needed in different films, different disciplines of different films, different genres, different themes. I mean, it was an incredible machine, and the machine bred, people didn't have to think about like making a living, so to speak, or where their next paycheck, or am I going to get laid off?
Right.
That didn't exist. MGM was forever. So when it ended in the 70s, everybody was shocked, including the great Fred Astaire. I got to listen to Fred Astaire tell me how stunned he was that he was all of a sudden out of work and he didn't know what to do with himself. I got to hear that from Jimmy Stewart in person. I mean, how can you imagine, you know, these people all of a sudden, you know, had done nothing but make movie after movie after movie after movie. And then all of a sudden there's like nobody to make another. Where's my next movie? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have anything for you. We're shutting down. They didn't know what to do with themselves. I mean, it was an amazing pulling of the rug out from underneath everybody.
Well,
and the industry has never recovered, ever. Television, you know, there were the Lorimars, some of the bigger television production companies recreated the family effect, and people worked for seasons, and that is in a way a similar thing, but it wasn't the movies, the glamour,
right?
And,
but oddly enough, the only system, I guess you would call it, because back then it was called the studio system. And the only system that exists like that today is the Hallmark Channel. They have all their they have a stable of actors that they have, and so you see the same actors in a lot of different Hallmark movies that they do, and they make lots of movies there for their Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like to watch the Hallmark Channel because they know that nothing weird is going to pop up, or that they're that they're going to get family style entertainment or romantic stuff, and so it has a really great following, and it works for them. The studio system.
They deserve credit for operating in that system. However, like if you think about the talent, that MGM had under its thumb, there will be nothing like it ever again. When you analyze what they had in terms of inventories of equipment and props and sets and backlots and the assets could never be duplicated ever again in your wildest imagination for any amount of money, ever. And the talent could never, ever be regathered. And I don't mean just big movie stars. I mean the greatest directors, the greatest producers. I mean, Thalberg, being the overall production head, and all the producers under him, and then the directors that would get assigned, and then the directors of photography and the sound department, and all the department heads. I mean, that talent, it's over.
Roy Wagner was pointing out in our chat here that Edith Head went to Universal because of Alfred Hitchcock, because his movies were all Universal, and she designed his movies, costume designed. So before we wrap up,
there are more clips?
Yeah, there is. And I want you to set it up because it's when your mom took the Unsinkable Molly Brown to the stage. So I'll let you set that clip up.
Well, I don't know what prompted them to want to do it. I know that Harv Presnell,
my posthumous crush.
You love the part. He's fantastic.
Yes.
And there is no better tenor singer ever on the earth than him. And he was quite something. And he also was a great actor and later became a great character actor, had quite a character actor career all the way to the end of his life. But during the Unsinkable Molly Brown, he still was a kind of a leading man of sorts. And I think my mother originally thought, I'll bring him into my Vegas show or something. And then somebody said, well, why don't you guys just, go out on tour with this thing? Now, neither one of them were that young when they did it. I mean, they're both a little, past their prime in terms of compared to the movie. But of course, they both were in their prime when it came to voice. Which is kind of what matters the most. But also my mother was willing to dance and do all that same crazy stuff you see in the movie live. It was quite something to see. So this is way later. I mean, and by the way, my mother's married to Richard Hamlet at the time, the convicted felon husband of hers.
Yes.
And so, although that's not a bad handle these days, even the president's got that handle. So I guess that's becoming kind of commonplace. But during that marriage is how late they decided. I mean, she was 60 years old, I want to say.
It was in 1989, so she was 57.
Okay, 57, he says. I said 60.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're just rounding it out. But she had just been married to Richard. And this is where Hollywood has always had a problem. The husband. I won't name names right now, but I could think of several major actresses that have the husband that's sort of the tag along, and the industry kind of goes, oh, geez, this guy's showing up here. So Richard Hamlet had absolutely no experience in producing anything, and he became the producer of the Unsinkable Molly Brown road tour of the stage play, and they worked very hard. They recreated all the costumes from the actual costumes. So my mother's costumes that were made from what you see on the stage here were actually duplicated from that. They did an amazing job, and this thing actually toured for quite some time, and it's really a great show. I mean, they did an amazing job. I mean, clearly you couldn't do what you could do when you were 30, when you're pushing 60. But anyway, enough said. Let's look at it. When you say be glad, I still have these sets. If you're one inside, today is tomorrow if you
want it so. I'll stay or I'll go. But I'll never say no.
Amazing. By the way, he's bald as can be at this point.
You like beautiful things, have them. You want to improve yourself, go ahead. But not one penny goes for buying friends. And we ain't staying here where we're not wanted. And we ain't going to no Europe where they'll split their satin breeches laughing at us.
I'll never say no to you.
I mean it, Maul.
Whatever you say you'll do.
We ain't going.
Today is tomorrow if you want it so.
I ain't gonna let them hurt you.
I'll stay or I'll go.
We're going back to Leadville where we belong.
But I'll never say.
Yeah, we'll go to hell and back if you like. Just love me forever.
I love you, honey. Now listen to here. Listen to here. As soon as I get my tail up. That's my tail. I'm gonna learn to read and write in French. I'm gonna say what there is to say in French.
For every one step backward, we'll take 2 steps forward till we stake us a claim on dignity in French.
Hear that, Mrs. McClone? The Browns are having a party! All righty, now we ain't down yet! Whoa!
Look how long his legs are.
Oh my gosh.
He's 1.5 feet taller than her.
At least.
Do we know where that dress is? Do we know where that dress is? Now this is at 60 years old, folks. I mean, to be pulling this crap 30 years later is no easy task. Edit. I mean, that's pretty remarkable at almost 60 years old to be doing that. And this thing was out on tour for a while.
I would have gone to see that in a heartbeat.
Oh, but man, it was so
What
good.
kind of theaters did that play in?
Oh, they went everywhere. And Mark Rich, you know, this is Margie's son. He was the prop man on that show. Went out on the whole tour, and was there for the entire.
What size houses were they playing though?
Oh, big, full size. You know, they went Minskoff sizes, thousands of people.
Yeah.
You know, this. You know, people come out for traditional Broadway. You know, and you know, the Irving Berlins and all of this, Meredith Wilson's. You know, when you're into that type of music, you know, there's a huge, very deep following of people that want that type of music and lyric, because it's not that prevalent everywhere.
Wow, that was incredible, just incredible.
And did you? And I said it while I was playing, but Harv was completely bald.
And here's me.
So what? He's got the wig on.
I love Harv Harsnell. I mean, I just wish I could have met him.
Oh, you would. He was charming, but also just a real guy's guy,
Yeah.
nice guy. You know, nothing.
What a voice he has.
Well, there you are once again. Like you hear how perfect their vibrato is and everything. And you know, they're wearing these kind of mics, these little boom mics.
This is what we sang. These mics are what we had in Les Mis, but they taped. They ran it through our wig,
under your wig.
and then this little bud right here.
You're better off with
would
this.
Would be here taped to your
Well, these
forehead.
are these.
So you're yeah.
These microphones are very expensive because they're vocal mics, and yet they're tiny, teeny microphones.
I prefer singing out of a wireless mic.
Well, if
than
you can sing through a handheld and suspend the imagination of that, but when you're doing a Broadway show,
of course,
people don't want to see you standing there with a Vegas style handheld.
But there's no other choice when you're doing a show. But
the sound you heard, it was still darn good, and considering how old that is, it's still remarkable. Very, very good quality of that. We did have some, and I believe on the Debbie Reynolds Studio Store, we actually have more of those posters, right?
Well, we just sold out of we sold them as a limited edition tonight, signed posters. One was of your mom's signature and Harv together, and then one was just Harv's signature, and those both sold out already. So
But I think we have other.
We do.
Okay, so if anybody got shafted on that experience, you could write the team here.
By Harv. We have like.
Just save me one. That's all I ask.
There's an inventory of those. There's some that are not signed, which are much cheaper.
Yeah, they look like the one behind you, right behind you.
Yeah.
Behind me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Oh well, yeah. That's hard to see though. You'd have to almost if you could see it with your camera. But the poster was okay. Here we go. So is this the one we sold? So I don't want to damage this one. Yeah, these are kind of cool. It's an original piece of art, which is actually, if you use the camera, go to the two-shot of me, Buck. Yeah, so right behind me, right there, you see the original piece of art. That's a hand-painted piece of art that represents what's on this poster. So come back to me. And you can see this one is signed by both. I don't imagine we have too many of these, but he said we had some extra ones with Harv. And anyway, they're very rare, obviously. Because my mother was cool about saving some of this stuff. She had sort of this sixth sense about what was going to be wanted and would be important in the future for people to want to collect. I think she clearly didn't, keep 20 copies of a poster for me. It was obviously intended for me to share with others.
Oh, absolutely.
So that is why I do that. I mean, there's been people that wonder why we sell things. Obviously, part of it's to help pay for the show and other things like that, but also other things are to help restore things and take care of the collection. And other parts of it, just the philosophy that she had, which was to try to instill a sense of consciousness among the public to be the caretakers of this stuff, because the industry has no conscience and is not a reliable caretaker of its history. It has proven itself time and time again to not be a reliable source of preserving its own history. Only the fans and certain people, my mother and other few celebrities, had a appropriate level of consciousness to actually put their money where their mouth is and to preserve and protect this stuff for future generations. If it wasn't for my mother setting that example, we would not be where we are today. And the Academy did pay tribute to my mother by naming a little area at the Academy after her. But in truth, I think she certainly deserves a lot more than what has been given to her like that. But she did preserve a lot of this for all of you. And so hopefully I know that certain people like Frank and John and other folks in our big collectors have created little museums, and they're going to great lengths to preserve their parts of the collection. And so now future generations will see that stuff, and hopefully they'll see these film clips and things also that we're doing and our stories, and it will give context to these items and true meaning for the future.
Right. Well, you know what time it is?
It's that time.
It's time to give stuff away.
And now the time has come.
And we are going to do that right now. And then we are going to let you know if you would like, after that we do this, we'll go to Ryan and let him explain the Patreon to you to see if it's something you'd like to be a part of and what it offers and what it is. So let's go to the giveaways. Now, for those of you that might be new here tonight, we do this every week. We have 2 wheels. Do we have 2 or 3 tonight?
Just 2.
Okay, so we're going to do the general wheel right now, which is simply that if you entered the room and made a chat in the chat room, made a comment, your name was automatically entered to the wheel that is spinning right now on the screen, and you have a chance. It's called the randomizer, and it digitally randomizes and picks a winner. Here we go. Hit it, Kyle, and we're off to the races. We have 6 winners on this wheel, starting with the one we are doing right now, and it is stopping at Kathy Gans. Kathy Gans, congratulations. We are giving you, I love this, Kathy. This is my favorite. Well, it's my favorite. I have 2 favorites, but this is the one that I wear all the time before my makeup and after. It is the amazing Miracle Working Cream to Gel Moisturizer from Cat Cosmetics, which is my company. I wear this before because it makes your skin come to life and tightens it up, but comes to life immediately. And I also put it on sometimes after my makeup, just pat it on because, again, makes your skin glow right through there. So congratulations, Kathy Gans. You are the winner. All winners tonight, please email us at catandtoddlive@gmail.com and claim your prize and give us your address so we can send that out to you. Congratulations, Kathy Gans. The next winner is Kate Maloney. Kate Maloney, you are the winner of Rich Lip Gloss. I happen to be wearing it right now if you want to see what it looks like. Rich Lip Gloss, our biggest selling lip gloss at catcosmetics.com. And you are the winner, so please make sure, Kate Maloney, that you send me an email at catandtoddlive@gmail.com and send me your address so I can send you this amazing lip gloss. Congratulations, Kate. The third winner is, looks like Leslyn Quanticio. Oh, Quartuccio. Leslyn Quartuccio. This is not a new name for me. It's just that I can see it because it's nice big letters.
It is a new name or not a new name?
No, I know this name. She's been watching us for a long time.
So she's a new winner, though, for the first time I've seen that name.
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that she won something really cool. Sorry, it's so dry in here. I'm sorry to cough in your face. There you go. All right, so you have won, Leslyn, the Beige Lights Face Stick. Oh, it's so beautiful. You can almost see it all the way from there. You can wear this on your eyes, your face, or your lips, and it makes you glow like a 20-year-old. I'm not talking sparkle, I'm talking glow. It looks like it's coming from the inside out. It is called Beige Lights. You can wear it over any lipstick that you possibly have, and it makes it just light your face up. You put it on your face as a highlighting cream or on your eyes as an eyeshadow. Congratulations. This is from catcosmetics.com. That's catcosmetics.com if you want to visit. And Leslyn, make sure you send us your address. All right, the next one is, coming up now, and it is Jama Taylor. Jama Taylor, you have won a copy of Debbie Reynolds' music CD. It has got a lot of her hits on it. It's an incredible CD, and I love this CD. I play it. I put it on my computer, and then I downloaded it to my car so I can listen to it all the time. And you also got, and these are unopened. This is an unopened cassette, which people are probably saying, "Oh my God, I haven't seen one of those in years." But this cassette is a collectible, and it is the soundtrack from the Unsinkable Molly Brown. It is in its original wrapping, making it a collectible.
That's the movie soundtrack.
It's the movie soundtrack. There you go. So these two are yours, Jama Taylor. Please make sure you send us your address so we can get these out to you on Monday. And we are moving on to Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 2 more, okay? And then we go to the super wheel, and I'll explain that to you. Graybeard Trains. Graybeard Trains.
Don't tell me you know that.
No.
Is that a new name?
That's a new name.
Oh, we usually say this is a new name because I don't recognize that one.
Welcome, Graybeard.
Exactly.
He might be new, but he might not be because
Now,
sometimes
is that
people don't comment.
trains or trans? No,
Trains. Trains. You have one. This is a collectible as well because this is the program to the Debbie and Carrie Public Memorial that we put on at the Forest Lawn it's like a 1,200 seat theater, absolutely beautiful theater that they have on the grounds where they're buried, and it's a beautiful program. It has everything. This is a picture of Todd directing Debbie, and the last time she was ever on camera, that I believe, and this also right here is the program and everything that went on there, and on the back is a very
Ricky LaChance.
Ricky LaChance's beautiful drawing of Debbie and Carrie right after they died, and so this is just it's a wonderful
Is that available
thing.
on the Studio Store?
There you go. So congratulations, Graybeard
Yes.
Trains. Make sure we get your address so we can send this to you. And I'm going to send you a little extra something with that to go with it. I'm not telling you what it is. It's a surprise. Okay, so here we go. Sal Halcourt, you are the next winner. And you have, oh, wow.
We could have just done this for most of them.
My gosh, Sal.
That's a lot of pictures.
You get the bundle. This is from the movie, The Unsinkable Molly Brown. This is also Belly Up to the Bar Boys, which is a very awesome, very great and picture because it's got so much life in it, because the number had so much life in it. This one is Debbie.
Molly Brown.
From Molly Brown. And then we have Debbie.
Now that's from the tour. Flip that upside down.
From
That's
the tour.
actually from the tour.
Yes, from the tour, right? And then we have
That's flip it. That's movie.
movie, Molly Brown.
And then the next one is tour.
Tour.
Flip it.
I'm seeing everything backwards, sorry.
That's tour.
That's tour.
So you got both the movie and the tour.
The movie and the tour. Congratulations, Sal. Make sure you send us your address, and there you go. I think that's it, right? We're going to the super wheel. What is the super wheel, you might ask? Well, a lot of people, as you can see, made donations throughout the show. And so you do that by clicking the little icon for donating. And it's wonderful because, first of all, thank you, because it really does help us maintain the production cost of the show. And everything we sell, of course, goes to that or to the restoration and of the legacy pieces that we do. And this is going to be a one-time winner, and you are going to spin that wheel right now.
Oh, you're not going to tell them till after?
I always tell them after.
Watch out! Don't rub the signature because it's on the.
Okay.
This is very fragile.
This
the
is
signature.
okay. A fragile signature. So this has actually Debbie's signature on it. She signed this. It is going to Mike Jeffers, MJ. Thank you so much. You are getting a video cassette. The last time I saw one of these, I fell off my dinosaur. But you know something? We still have a video cassette machine.
Yes,
I love that.
I have several of
We
them.
have lots. But this is a collectible. It is signed by Debbie right there. And so this is a true collectible.
It's a VHS tape of the movie Unsinkable Molly Brown.
That's right.
And she hand signed it. And the reason why we even have such a thing is this is left over from when she would go out on the road before they had DVDs. And she had signed a few of these. We found a box full
Right.
of them, and so we have a handful of them around.
Yeah.
So it's very rare.
Right. So it's a true collectible, and it's just a great thing. And MJ, I'm so glad you won it. Here is the postcard of her in the famous red dress that we have in our museum. You saw at the top of the show. And thank you so much, everybody, for your donations. The people that donated tonight, you will be on the Super Wheel next week. And right now, before we sign off, I'd like to go to Ryan if I could. Let's pin Ryan, or have him pin himself. And I'm going to have him explain the Patreon to you. So we've been talking about it tonight. Go ahead, Ryan, take it away.
Well, you can hear me, and then you can see, of course, the Patreon page that's here. And we have quite a few people who are already members of the Patreon, and we love that. So it's Behind the Stage Doors with Kat and Todd. It's on Patreon. We basically have 2 tiers of membership. Oh, I can actually show you here. 2 tiers of membership. There's a tier 1 and a tier 2. Obviously, with tier 2, you're going to get full length behind the scenes footage, performances, things that you really can't see anywhere else. So right now, and I know we are building some things to add to the Patreon tonight because we load things weekly. It's been a lot of gigabytes that have to upload, so it will be there tonight. It may not be there quite yet. And you can see, here we go. You know, this is some stuff that we posted prior to tonight. We'll have a couple of more things going in here tonight. And yeah, there's plenty of things here. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Todd or Kat.
Yeah,
or Seth.
how much are the 2 tiers?
Oh, yes, that's important. The first tier 1, I believe, is $3.99, and the second tier is $9.99. Oh, and one important thing that we have found, and we did post it here, if you do choose to get a membership, we would just warn you that apparently if you order it through your Apple iPhone, you know, like, because it's super convenient, they, not us, they will
upcharge,
impose a surcharge. Yeah, it's like $3 or $4. So there's no need to do that. Just go online, do it on your computer, do it somewhere else, and then when you go on your phone and you go to the app, then it'll be there. But don't buy it through the app, because then, you know, who wants to pay an extra $3 or $4? No one. So.
Right. So where can they go to sign up?
Patreon Direct.
Well, we have to. Yes, but what is the website?
I bet the link is there.
It's Patreon, or I've made it easy. If you go to the Debbie Reynolds Studio store, here is the link is right here. You can click on that, and then boom, it pops up.
Perfect. Then they don't have to pay the surcharge. That's great. Well, it's a really fun club to belong to, and you get cool content, and a lot of the things you saw here tonight, you will see in its entirety on the Patreon page. So
well, I'm going to be. We have hundreds of hours of stuff that you haven't seen, and even stuff I haven't seen.
Oh, I
in
love
decades.
seeing this, because most of this I have never seen.
Right. So there's so many different things, little sequences from different shows and television shows and TV specials, home movies. All that stuff's going to find its way up over time. I don't want to just dump too much on people, so we're trying to do like a weekly thing. So the Monday at the Movie thing is becoming a weekly or a bi-monthly thing. Mm-hmm. As well as these other shows. Eventually, the Nightlights there. Right now, the song Carry On, the tribute song that I wrote about my mother and sister, is on Patreon, the only place you can hear that song. So if you have an interest in hearing a song that's written by Greg Giuffria and myself and Henry Catrona about my mother and sister, there's a pretty cool song on there. I mentioned it in the beginning of the show, but I just mentioned it now. So there's a lot of stuff there that you might enjoy seeing. I just noticed you had the whole video up from the Paul Allen birthday party as well. I think that's on there. Yes. That's crazy. If you haven't seen that in its entirety, it's truly a remarkable experience of just seeing all of these major producers and directors and actors sort of just chilling behind the scenes.
Yep.
And, in their natural habitat, so to speak, our unnatural habitat. But everybody's got their guard down, and it's really fun to see people not putting it on, just being who they are.
Yep. Well, you know, we just have had a lot of people mentioning how great they thought the show was tonight. We thank you so much for tuning in. We can't thank you enough. For those of you that donated to our show tonight, thank you. Please stay tuned for the crawl at the end of the show, because we have a crawl with your name on it, and we'd love to share that with you.
If we stay on another 10 minutes, we can make the full 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we're not going to do that, because we are going to say on behalf
and now
the time has come. We want to thank you on behalf of Seth and Todd and myself and Ryan and Kyle and Buck. We just thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. We love doing the show for you, and I hope that we got to some new people to come and visit us and visit these wonderful old memories by broadcasting it also on Debbie's page. But thank you so much. We just appreciate you like you can't imagine. And we love you, and God bless you, and we will see you next week, okay? That's it. Have a good one, everybody. Have a great rest. And happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to Debbie, to you, to all of us. Thank you. Good night.